welcome once again to the Movie Stuff Show. My name is Dan, and sorry for the technical difficulties. I think it was YouTube's fault this week. I swear it wasn't me.
Couldn't be us.
It was not me.
We're a top flight organization.
Yeah, you know what happened is, it was like 12 minutes before the show, and I was like, oh, look, we're already set up. It jinxed us. Anyway, as you can see, joining me this week, my co-host Marty, and once again, our very special guest, Talia. We're not talking Saw this week, Talia. So you must be happy. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you think of Man of Steel. I guess we'll find out. But we're not talking about Saw. So there's at least that. Thank you for everyone who's in the chat already, and if you stuck through the 6-minute delay and enjoying or watching the show right now. Jam-packed hour of fun for you this week. Justice League comes out. They're already saying Thursday. Like they're not even like they've dropped the pretense of Friday now.
Yeah, I got Thursday tickets.
But I mean, even the commercials are saying this Thursday. Like, it used to just be this Friday. They've just dropped the pretense anymore. It's like these come out Thursday.
Well, yeah, because they used to be, it would be Thursday at midnight, so you still kind of get that bullshit live. But now it's Thursday. Like, we're seeing a 6 o'clock show.
Right. It's Thursday.
It's easier. Fuck it.
Whatever.
What did they do with Blade Runner? I saw Blade Runner on Thursday.
Yeah. I'm seeing Last Jedi on Thursday when it comes out.
Yeah, it's Thursday movies. Anyway, Justice League comes out this Thursday. On our channel, #Synergy, we've talked about Batman v Superman. We talked about Wonder Woman. We talked about Suicide Squad. Those are the other DCEU films. Not Nolan. I mean, this is the new DCEU, right?
Yeah.
Not Nolan. #Synergy, though, we do actually have a Batman Begins review on this channel as well. We interviewed Mark Boone Jr. about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, maybe we'll create a little playlist, Marty. Maybe that's your job, is create a little DCEU playlist, so we can.
Oh, we have the superhero playlist.
We have a superhero one, but maybe one specific to DCEU. Once we do Justice League, anyway. But the one that was missing was Man of Steel, because Man of Steel came out in 2013.
Summer 2013.
Yeah, I think I just started podcasting right around then. I think it was like August of 2013 is when I first started podcasting. I know this because I have a soon-to-be 5-year-old child, and I started podcasting when she was younger. So it's been a while. But didn't talk about Man of Steel when it came out, so here it is now, what we'll call a retro review. It seems so weird since the movie's not out that long ago, but a retro review of Man of Steel. I want to hear your opinions, because I don't know your opinions on this film, either of yours. And I have a very strong opinion, a strong hot take, if you will, on this movie. So, Marty,
that's the funny thing you notice. Like, we do the Marvel movies and we do DCEU movies, and the Marvel movies are more popular, but I think the DC movies are more debated.
Yes.
Because we get more views out of our DC movie reviews as opposed to our Marvel movies.
I concur.
Because I don't think it's just not enough to talk about it a lot of times in Marvel. Even,
But they're all the same movie. They're all very
similar.
Yeah.
They're very formulaic. And then you think, oh, we want something different. And then DC came along trying to do something different. And this was the beginning of them catching a lot of shit. Really, because I remember I saw this movie with our friend Mike when it first came out, and we loved it. First off, like, wow, we walked out. We never seen Superman like this. But the backlash began pretty quick. Oh, this isn't our Superman, and they had a pretty clean slate after everyone pretty much collectively hated Superman Returns with
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
Brandon
Spacey and Rao. Yeah. So I mean, everybody was like, this was coming right off of the different take on Nolan's, with Batman and Nolan going darker, and so. But something with Superman, they just don't like the dark tones of Superman, and that's the thing you notice on rewatch, because when I first saw this movie, loved it, the action's great, Cavill's our new Superman for the next 10 years if he wants it. Snyder's, was just coming off Watchmen again, which was debatable in one way or another, but I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy to see him take this on, and they were starting to tease it, that this might be the beginning of something. We weren't sure yet. Nolan was producing, had a producer credit for this movie, so we thought, oh, maybe they're going to combine the worlds and we're going to have this great thing to finally take on Marvel. And we didn't get that. What we wound up getting just has not worked as well. We'll get to that later. But the thing with these Marvel movies are rewatchable so much. You can just turn them on TV, whatever part of the movie they're on, you can sit and watch them and not really care. Noticing this one, these DC movies are hard to rewatch. And this one especially, when you rewatch the movie, there are some tough parts of this. It's a lot of just, the action is hard. It's, not hardcore action. It's not, gory or anything, but it's very violent. There's a scene that always kind of strikes me on rewatch where Superman is just coming out of this field of skulls, and it's just like, oof, that's the point where it's like, yeah, all right, maybe this isn't everyone's Superman. So, and one of the major, I think, the legacy of this, you can call it one of the legacies of this movie, is the idea that since this movie, we talked a lot more about the damage that superheroes do. That was the big hit coming out of this movie, where the end scene where Zod and Superman fighting through Metropolis and essentially burned down Metropolis. Mm-hmm. I remember I want to say New York Times came out with a story after it that kind of estimated what the damage would have been.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like billions of this, and the whole idea that Superman kills somebody, not the huge thing, but the notion was he would have killed, thousands of people, and that's what they were doing.
Zod wasn't stopping.
Yeah, and so ever since then, that's kind of been a tone of superhero movies where they have to address the damage that's done. Even Marvel did it, and in BVS, they always had to come out, make little snide statements. Oh, luckily they're fighting where no one is today. It's like, So it's just a funny little thing about this movie. Like I said, I loved it originally. Rewatch, I can still enjoy it. I still root for the DC movies to be good. I'm rooting for Justice League to be good, even though I'm pretty sure we all agree it probably won't be. But like I said, I enjoyed this movie, but we'll talk about where they went with it. I just don't think they rushed it. Again, we've always said they rushed this whole universe along, and I just don't think they started strong enough here where they could have just built it slowly, but they rushed it. And,
I'll agree with you on that, but I'll disagree with you on a lot of other things. Talia, what is your take on this?
Well, I mean, when I found out that what's his name, Henry Cavill was going to be Superman, I used to watch The Tudors, so I remember him from that show, and I was like, oh wow, he's really gone up the ladder. So I'm like, okay, this should be interesting, and maybe my expectations were a bit too high, but I was a bit disappointed because I remember watching on HBO when I was a child the Christopher Reeve Superman and loving it, and I can still watch it today. But this one, I'm like, ugh, I'm getting bored. I'm like, it doesn't have that excitement. It's just like he's like this. What was his name? The guy you had up here before, Jack. He pretty much summed up Henry Cavill's facial expression. He has the same facial expression in practically every, and I'm like, yes, he's just wooden, just like, oh my god. So I was like, this isn't Clark Kent. This isn't the awkward, I don't know what to do, even though deep down I'm Superman. I know what to do. But it's like he just seemed like he was just not there. Like he was just very, very just, I don't know. I can't even put a word to it. Just like, I just didn't feel excited about it. And the funny thing is, I first saw this movie in what do you call it? Those electronic stores in Berlin. It was on DVD, and I was just standing there watching it on this high definition television. I didn't even go to the cinema to see it. I was like,
that's great.
Movie free. Yeah.
My hot take is other than Batman Begins, this is the best superhero film. It's amazing. It's hands down. In fact, I think I put this above Batman Begins in many areas because
you're talking origin or all
time. And my reasoning is it's the only film that I can still watch in the superhero genre where I still feel that there's major stakes at play and that there's tension and that I'm worried about what's happening and that the damage does seem real and it seems like the villains are unstoppable in a way and that what they're trying to do is a bit confusing at times, but still destroying the Earth. And you pinpointed that one scene with the skulls, and it harkens back to some of my favorite visuals from Terminator 2. Where Linda Hamilton's looking in the playground, and just it's just all the skulls, and even the Terminator just stomping on the skulls in the future. So I like that, and maybe it's because I just watched this Thor movie where it was just a whole bunch of zany fun, and then I sit and watch this, and it's a tough. I can understand why people don't like it. Like, honestly, I can understand that. It's a tough watch. I still enjoy it, man. I still really, really enjoy it, and there's just so much at play here that I feel is missing from the majority of Marvel films. And I don't want to compare Marvel DC, because even like thinking of the stakes or everything in Batman v Superman wasn't as high as this one. Like this one felt like, man, there's a lot going on here in regards to what the end result's going to be, and you feel kind of invested in it. More so than, Avengers. Avengers, same thing as New York was kind of your current office, Marty, my old office, kind of got destroyed in Avengers.
Yep.
But other than that, it's like,
Similar ideas, though, with the whole. We see a lot of these movies now where it's just a big thing in the sky that's taking over the Earth, and we got to stop it. That was also the same. It was the same plot in Suicide Squad, I believe.
Yeah.
There's the same Avengers 1 and 2, essentially. Mm-hmm. Big thing in the sky we got to stop before it ruins the Earth. So on that level, at BVS, it wasn't. There wasn't really. I mean, Doomsday comes, of course, but there was still no idea. Okay, what happens if we don't kill Doomsday? It was just he'll keep running around, but there's still,
Yeah, with this, there was literally the entire world was going to be destroyed, and then we started over, as Krypton.
The world. I think it's the world generator, right? I think it's what it was called.
Yeah, I think so.
Or
the world engine.
Planet.
The world engine.
World engine. There
the
you
world
go.
engine. Yeah.
But again, Cavill, as we're talking about Cavill, is he too? It's a weird thing to say, but like he's just too jacked. It seems sometimes for a Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so imposing that it's just he kind of loses that all shucksness that we got used to.
I guess when it's the very beginning on the fishing boat, and he swims ashore. And he swims ashore, and it's almost like oh, is he Aquaman? Is that Is he kind of like look like Momoa, like so the facial hair and everything? I agree, and they did the obligatory Thor topless shot in Ragnarok as well, so you're gonna get those. But you start looking, it's like, I get it. Superman is Superman. He's strong. This dude looks like, I don't know, 90s version of Lex Luger from WWE. Like, seriously. He's the narcissist over here swimming out and saving people. So I agree with you with that. There's and you mentioned it earlier, it's like not my Superman. Like, it's not my Superman. In that degree, I can agree that he's lost that all-American or that boyish kind of charm. He's more of a an emotional kind of WWE kind of guy. Like he's like this angst-ridden. In fact, it's one of the comments saying angsty, conflicted, and resentful. And I don't know. I like that. I like as an origin story too. Is I get that when we've seen Superman in the past and Clark Kent in the past, he's got things figured out. He's got things settled. He's okay with how he is, and he's figured out who his alternate identity is and where his place is in the world. I like seeing a Superman that doesn't understand his place in the world because Well,
that's what I like. Some of the childhood stuff they showed, and growing up with Kevin Costner is a bit harsh, I would say, as a father playing Pa Kent in this.
Sure.
I didn't like the death scene. Kevin Costner's death scene. I thought that was very cheesy.
Yeah, the turn. I mean, it's it's the perfect kind of like, when they make fun of the movie plot, like, well, why don't you just go save him and fast enough that no one would have seen you do it. You're Superman. But the idea that it's better for him to die than to show that he's Superman. I think if it was I think a Superman would have decided, no, I'm going to save you, Dad. I'm sorry.
See, yeah, I disagree because I mean, and I think the point of when he saves the bus, and Jonathan Kent is torn on the whole thing, and because Superman asks him, he's like, well, was I supposed to let them die? And Jonathan Kent's like, he doesn't have an answer. He just says,
I think he said maybe.
He does. No, he does. He says maybe, but he doesn't have an answer because he's not sure either.
No.
But it's all coming from the best of intentions, right? I mean, the whole thought is like his son's going to be taken away, and the military is either going to try to exploit him and use him as a super weapon, or they're going to try to dissect him and whatever it is. Like, no good could come out of him, people knowing who he is, right? No good could really come from that. So I get the intentions. I agree. Like that scene's a little over the top, especially because it's like, all right, you're in Kansas, tornado, bit on the nose,
Yeah. What do you think of the aging of Diane Lane to play the mother?
I think it works. I think it's fine. Yeah. I think
she's only nine. I just read she's only 9 years older than Amy Adams.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but they've done stuff like that before.
Yeah,
that's fine. I think
she's good.
She's really good. There's,
Yeah.
I know some criticism of Cavill, but I think there's some good performances in here.
I like the emotion he shows a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of it. The mother stuff where it's he gets really upset. Where it's like they come and mess with his mother. It's like that's when he really kind of finally can beat Zod for a minute. It's like don't mess with my mother, which is a natural thing. But again, it's just it set the groundwork again for BVS, which gets panned for so much of the mother and Martha stuff.
Mm-hmm. No,
but the thing is, I've seen Henry in The Tudors, and he was really good in that. Maybe because it was a series, and I think he was in it for 2 or 3 seasons. So he had a character development. He had more time. But the thing is, I've seen him do really good work. So I was a bit excited to know, like, oh, he's going to be Superman. Wow, that's going to be interesting. And again, I said, like, maybe my expectations were a bit too high. It was just that, with Superman, it was always Christopher Reeve for me. And I always thought that he was the good guy. He would never let anyone die. Even, he would always fight crime. He always do the right thing. And in this one, it was like, because he was so conflicted. Like, should I save these people? Should I just, what? And it was like, okay, I sort of understand that. But still, for me, Superman would always do the right thing. Batman would have a problem, because he doesn't have any superpower. But Superman, he has, he can stop the world and turn back time and, all this kind of stuff, So I'm thinking, of course, he's going to save these people.
Yeah, and I think that's what's been ingrained with us with those, original Christopher Reeve Superman too. I mean, as much as I love that 1978 Superman, it cops out at the end because he does. He spins around the world. He turns back time. He saves Lois Lane. It's such a cop out, and it's a great film. And Superman 2 is really, really good too. They shot 1 and 2 kind of back to back, so like 2 has that very similar feel as Superman 1 did. So they're both really good films. And I mean, you talk about like best villain. It doesn't get much better than that Lex Luthor. Just sensational in those original movies. And then after that, like Superman 3 turns into a comedy, a slapstick comedy with Richard Pryor, and Superman 4 is an atrocity that destroyed a movie studio once and for all.
That's the one who gets drunk and starts smoking and gets drunk and all that kind of stuff?
That's 3. Yeah, that's the Richard Pryor one is Superman 3 where he gets drunk and he smokes like the kryptonite cigarette or some shit like that, and he. But yeah. It was we're accustomed to that, is that Superman is completely infallible and able to do whatever whenever he wants. And we see vulnerability in this one. I don't necessarily agree with the criticism that he wasn't trying. I think he was trying to save people. Like, I think he was trying to save as many people as possible. You know, the problem is like when you're fighting someone and then you're gonna try to save someone at the same time. It's multitasking. It's kind of tough to do, you know, because in the Christopher Reeves movies, it was more of that. You know, it was dealing with not necessarily other than Superman 3 where he fights himself and Superman 4 where he fights Nuclear Man or whatever. There wasn't like a villain that he had to fight. He had to stop nuclear weapons. He had to stop, you know, earthquakes. He had to stop these things that were natural reactions. And you know, he had to fight someone and still, you know, save people at the same time. So, like, what is he going to do? He's like, all right, I'm going to just toss Zod aside for a little bit, save some people, fight Zod some more, toss him aside again, save some more people. It's kind of a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah, I think some of the Superman... Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, we got you.
Go ahead. No, but you like this one better than Batman Begins?
No, Batman Begins is my favorite. I'm saying in regards to the stakes, I think the stakes were much higher in Man of Steel than they necessarily were in Batman Begins. I think top to bottom, Batman Begins is a superior film. To me, I think everything. I love from the origin story of how they set up Christian Bale's Batman and the performances. Batman Begins is my favorite. I think just in regards to like the how much is at stake in a superhero film, I think Man of Steel has more than Batman Begins did. Because even so, Batman Begins, the worst that was going to happen is Gotham gets destroyed, and they have to rebuild it. And it's the the Roman Empire or whatever, Pompeii, like rebuilding after that. So I think from a just a higher level of feeling tense in a movie, I think that's where I go with Man of Steel. Ultimately, Batman Begins, absolutely. I love the original Batman, the Burton, the first two, with Michael Keaton. Yeah, really great films. And not necessarily Batman movies. The character is called Batman. I think Burton just has his own spin on it. It's something kind of different than Batman, but I love them. I probably love Returns almost as much as the first one, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. It's neck and neck because Jack is so good as the Joker in that first one, but there's so much to love about Batman Returns. It's such a fun film. But with the Superman one, yeah, it was.
What?
Abe, he's like, I tried to get Talia on the show for over a year. I leave and Dan and Marty give her multiple episodes. Yeah. So, with this one, I do think it had a lot going for it, and maybe it took too big of a risk too soon, right? Maybe it didn't ease us into Superman. Maybe it just kind of threw Superman at us, or flew at us. Yeah. Talia, you want to talk? Because apparently we're prohibiting you from talking.
General Chow's chicken.
Yeah, General Chow's chicken says that we don't want to talk.
No, I mean, I like that in this one, Lois Lane wasn't an airhead. Mm. I mean, Amy Adams is a really good actress. And I like the fact that she actually had a brain. Her character had a brain in this movie. Yeah. And she was, she had something. Nothing against Margot Kidder, but it was like, with the original. I mean, not really, because Margot Kidder, she was like just so dumbfounded. Like, what? Maybe because she was bipolar or alcoholic or whatever. But the thing is, at least in this one, there was something like I could see why she would fall for someone like that. Mm-hmm. There was like a chemistry. More so. But I thought that some of it was a bit over the top, especially with the like destruction and, it was like, I don't know. Because I guess the kid in me wanted him to do the right thing and him to be the good guy. I guess I never saw Superman as a dark character. I always saw Batman as a dark character from the very beginning. But Superman, like, if I had superpowers, I wouldn't be all depressed and upset. I would be, taking over. And just like, let anyone try to mess with me. I'll just, force push him or do something, Yeah, but I can understand that after, of course, if he did show that early on, the government would just dissect him like a frog.
Yeah.
So it was
try to.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie gets a lot of slack for his killing of Zod, but I mean, did he have any other choice?
No.
No, and I think Michael Shannon was amazing as Zod.
Yeah.
I would have liked to spend actually even more time on Krypton with that story, because that's the first time we'd actually seen Krypton really for that length of time. But again, but it just was a little rushed. Like, we're on Krypton.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we're on Krypton. Oh, it's falling apart. Like, I don't know if they could have started this all with a prequel, but I could have seen a whole movie based on Krypton, especially with those kind of actors, Shannon and Russell Crowe playing Jor-El. I mean, I thought it was a great start to the movie with that, and I didn't love that Russell Crowe kept popping up kind of in the ship. That got a little hokey after a while, because as he's talking, I could see if when he comes back and talks to Superman, that makes sense. But then he's also talking to
Zod,
Lois Lane and Zod, and it's like it takes away from the depth. It takes away from his depth in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
if
it's kind of it's kind of like Obi-Wan and Yoda just popping up every 20 minutes or so in the movie. It's like, oh, by the way, you got to do this.
But they set that up at least.
I'm not criticizing. No, I'm just saying if you threw more of the force ghosts just popping up,
But they only talk to Luke, at least. These guys.
Don't talk to anyone.
Also, Crow was just popping
lonely.
up.
I mean,
telling jokes.
I mean, if you die and your essence is just floating about, it gets lonely.
But it wasn't even his essence. It was just like it was a computer program. It seemed that could interact somehow. It was just. And then in BVS, we have Superman talking to Kevin Costner again up on the mountain, which is kind of unexplained. If it was just a vision, it was just
a dream or something. Yeah,
dream or it was odd. It's kind of off.
Yeah. Which again, it, going to the comic books and Death of Superman, and that was the height of when I really read comic books, was Death of Superman, and so I read that series. Then The Return of Superman, I read that series, and part of it was, Jonathan Kent was having a heart attack, and he was dying and kind of going into the other world, and he sees Superman there, and they kind of talk, and that's how Superman comes back, as he realizes it's like, oh, the world still needs me, and so that's how his spirit comes back. So, in a way, I think it was the less hokey version of that. By having him talk to the spirit, if you will, of Jonathan Kent and BVS. Okay, so DCEU as a whole, right? So Man of Steel kicks it off.
Not great though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right.
It made I think I looked it up here. It made just under 300 here, off a $225 million budget. So it's not great. I mean, it made close to 700 worldwide. Yeah. But it certainly wasn't the kickoff that, say, like Iron Man was for Marvel.
No.
So to just say, all right, we did one, now we're world building. I think it was just
and again, you can say that they rushed the character development of Superman in this movie, right? You can almost say that the Zod storyline should have probably been Superman 2. Should have been Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
And that this movie should have been focused in on something a little bit smaller of scale, still, important, but something a little bit smaller to build him up and get him there. I mean, you could argue that, right? But to go from that to BVS as a sequel to this, and again, I love BVS. It's a beautiful mess of a film. It really is a beautiful mess. There's confusing parts of Man of Steel. There's stuff that you really have to pay attention to. If you kind of aren't paying attention for the briefest of seconds, what's this world engine thing? What's it doing? So there's parts of it that I could see foreign audiences especially being a little too confused by it. But BVS, to jump to BVS, it's like, it's way too fast, way too soon. Like, BVS should have been movie number 3 in the series, or movie number 5, or something like that, because I think we'll all agree that Wonder Woman as a film overall should have come before BVS. Like Wonder Woman as a standalone film should have come before BVS. And then I don't care if you're even doing like a team up movie of Cyborg and the Flash or something like that. That should have come before BVS, and definitely before Justice League. They've put franchise building on hyperdrive because they're feeling like so behind what Marvel's doing that they're feeling it's like, oh, well, we got the characters. And it's true. DC has the stronger characters of the bunch. I mean, you look at, on the surface, Marvel, Spider-Man, Wolverine doesn't even belong to the Marvel universe, cinematic universe right now. Those are kind of the two, big ones prior to, the Marvel Cinematic Universe made Iron Man into a bigger character, made Captain America and Hulk and some of these secondary characters into first-tier characters now. Iron Man was a third-tier character before the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I loved Iron Man, but he was a third-tier character.
But they made a good movie, and that's what kind of compels it.
But that's what I'm saying.
With low expectations. When you say, all right, we're making BVS, like, well, I've been waiting for this movie my whole life. This better be good.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is DC has these gods, and I think they were just figuring that I'm going to use my characters, to strengthen my characters, to build a cinematic universe, and they felt that they could rush it. And I think it's backfiring. I told you guys before the show, I saw this trailer again for Justice League. I hope I'm fucking wrong, but this, I'm not excited by it at all. Like, I see Momoa, like, jumping up with Cyborg and going, my man. I'm like, it's like, that's got to be a Whedon. Like, that's got to be a Whedon cut, right? I mean, that can't be Snyder. Like, there's no way Snyder would allow that to be in his movie. Yeah.
Like, and they tried there are subtle things in Man of Steel where, one of the female soldiers from the Green Lantern comic, they hit a satellite that belongs to Wayne Enterprises. So they did little things, but then they just kind of said, all right, fuck it, we're just going to go all out here. And it was still hope when this movie came out that maybe we can marry it with, like I said, with the Christian Bale world. Mm-hmm. But I think Bale just said he didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And so they just came out with, not even saying we're going to do BVS, but they said we're going to do BVS. We're going to do Suicide Squad. We're doing Justice League 1 and 2 back to back. We're doing Wonder Woman. We're doing Shazam. We're doing Flash movie. A Flash movie now has had, I think, 4 different writers. Right. Still no script. Right. The Batman movie might not even be Ben Affleck anymore. No. It's Matt Reeves. He had a script. He was going to direct it. They said no, thank you. So now Matt Reeves is doing it, and there's still no script for that. Even during, like, Ben Affleck is his own worst enemy sometimes. Even in the lead up to this Justice League movie, he's talking about, I probably need to find a way to segue out of this Batman role at some point. It's like, well, and what's a shame is they got so much shit for when they announced him, like, oh, Ben Affleck can't be Batman. And actually, people loved him. Yeah. And they just couldn't even get that right, because then they thought, oh, they love Batman. Let's rush that thing up. And then they couldn't get that right. And
just Suicide Squad. Just as an older, really, right. As an older
Batman Beyond, Wayne, right?
Yeah, as an older Bruce Wayne, and he's going to train someone else to be the next Batman. Just do that and have Tim Burton, or Nolan, and make it, dark and really, gritty.
I mean, they were going that way with it. There was going to be definitely a older, the gritty older Batman, and how that happened, and everyone was excited for it. It got lost in Warner Brothers hierarchy somehow, and they rushed Suicide Squad without a script, and that was just a reshoot of a mess.
Wait, and then Suicide Squad have a script?
When they first announced it, they didn't have a script yet. No, and then they just kind of shot it in a hurry, and then they had to reshoot half of it, and so there's basically you're watching 2 different movies. They're not even doing it. They're not doing
too.
anything with any of those characters really right now.
Do you remember too? A lot of those reshoots happened as a direct result of trying to make it
BVS, yeah.
BVS is BVS got the negative, so they tried to make it more Marvel-esque with jokies and
jokes and colors and songs and
right.
It just so you watch two different movies essentially when you're watching it. And there were parts of it I liked, but when you another thing when you rewatch that thing, it's fucking awful.
You can't watch Suicide. You cannot rewatch that. I think I might have tweeted out not too long ago that I sat and tried to watch it. It's completely and I like Will Smith in that, and I think the best parts of that are his scenes really. But man,
Margot Robbie's is good, but they introduced this new Joker, and then they sold the movie on Leto was Joker, and he was part of he was most of the cuts. This apparently were his parts.
Yeah.
So he was barely in the movie.
I wonder why.
Because his parts was probably too dark. Just like like all the BVS stuff was too dark. They said so they wanted to go for the lighter tone. The villain was just a fucking
terrible
joke.
Villain. I criticize Marvel villains. He's probably the worst villain I've ever seen.
Yeah, with the whole dancing fucking thing at the end.
Baron Zemo look like Zod.
They made you try and care about these characters and think that they cared about each other in 3 days.
Pyro was probably the worst, whatever that guy was. He was absolutely the worst. Diablo. He was just absolutely terrible.
You killed your kids.
I thought the Enchantress was horrible. Cara Delevingne?
Yeah. She holds men's souls in her knife there. All right. She's never going to do it, though, so don't bother. Don't bother watching.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the saving grace that the DCEU has going for it is how great Wonder Woman was.
Yeah.
Really great film. And there's so much that I liked about it. I'm looking forward. I think they just said that they're changing the release date of Wonder Woman because of Star Wars.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks earlier, I think.
So that's what, 2019?
19.
Yeah. So then that's during that fall. That's Frozen 2 comes out in November, early November, and then late November would be Wonder Woman, and then mid-December or late December would be Star Wars, right?
So I'm not even sure what's on the DC slate for 18.
Isn't Aquaman?
Yeah, that has to be it, because I know Flashpoint is still only talked about.
Yeah. No, Aquaman's the only one that was filming still, I think.
Yeah. And then Suicide Squad 2 was supposed to be done. They were supposed to shoot Justice League 1 and 2 back to back.
Well, they're not even doing a 1 and 2 now, right? They're just doing the 1, I think, for now.
Aquaman's set to release still for October 5th.
Of 2018?
2018.
Yeah.
Flash, it still doesn't have a release date. The Batman
still doesn't have a release date.
In the middle of all this, they announced they're doing a Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
That doesn't have any. That's to be interesting to see if he pops up somehow in this movie.
Maybe. There's rumors that because I think they saw a costume being built in the background when Snyder was doing it. See, that's the thing that also concerns me is this whole handoff from Snyder to Whedon.
Yeah, I don't know if it was going to happen as quickly as it did, but the tragedy of Snyder's daughter dying kind of forced it. And then it seems like they maybe were trying to be nice about it early on, but the fact that it's a 2-hour movie now makes me think they cut out a lot of what Snyder did.
Yeah.
See, Aquaman 2018, they don't have anything till Shazam in 2019. Oh. And then Wonder Woman 2 in 2019. So,
whereas Marvel's just going to keep rolling.
Marvel has 3 movies set to come out next year.
Well, they got Black Panther that comes out.
Black Panther, February. Infinity War, and then Ant-Man.
Ant-Man 2.
Ant-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've never seen the full Ant-Man movie. I've seen parts of it. I was watching it the other day, and the
Marvel movies are on FX every other day.
I'm the same way, Dan.
Not my cup of tea. And I like Paul Rudd. But not
he's fine. He had a good little part in Civil War.
Yeah.
But them going from Man of Steel to BVS is essentially going from, all right, we did Iron Man, and we gave you one other movie. And not even Avengers. We're going straight to Civil War.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they kind of, they gave away so much in that movie. They kind of spoiled.
Oh my God. I know we talked about that when we did the review. That trailer is probably the most spoilerific trailer I've ever seen. It beat for beat the entire plot of BVS in that trailer.
So, what do we think? I mean, they've been a little better about this one. Most trailers have just been the same 3 or 4 action scenes of different kind of variances over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
When do we think we see Superman coming back in this movie? Last third, halfway, the last 10 minutes. What do you think?
I say towards the end. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the last 15, 20 that we see Superman. We might see hints. We might see kind of more, signs of him coming back. Maybe the ground opening up, or we might see some hints, but we won't see him physically until the last 15, 20 minutes when shit's dire, and Steppenwolf is just, and the army is just kind of beating them down, and.
Because that was the major crime in all this, I thought. Man of Steel, we're just getting Cavill. All right, we're giving him a chance. And then to go right into the Death Superman.
I know,
basically,
way too fast.
The biggest moment in comic book history, basically.
Yeah, it
just didn't have
killed
the weight.
The comic book industry, but it was the biggest moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it happens, it just didn't have the weight that you needed for that. And then they gave it away that he's coming back in the same 5-minute span. With the dirt rising from the coffin.
Shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. They should not have indicated that he would be back. If anything, I think the trailer has done a good job. If they reported that Cavill was on set, it's like, well, he's shooting dream sequences, right?
Yeah.
So they should have just played it off.
But his symbol is still on the
symbols on the posters.
Yeah.
And again, because they rushed this, BVS should have been movie number 4 or 5 in this series. And then at that point, even if it's not full Superman movies, but if you get Man of Steel 1 is the origin of Superman, and he's dealing with some kind of villain, some Lex Luthor type thing, whatever, fine. And then Man of Steel 2 is when he's dealing with Zod and the complete destruction of Earth and stuff like that. That would be great. And then maybe you have him pop up in, another one of these movies here or there. So you really see the progression of Superman. So you're attached to him. So then when BVS happens, him dying makes sense. And I get how they work the plot for BVS, because here's the destruction that Superman, they play on that, and they have Batman upset about that, right? Still, they could have done that three movies in, or 4, whatever, So I agree that if you're trying to build a franchise, they could have done it in a better way.
You need more than just titles and release dates.
Right.
You need to have an actual plan.
Okay. Got about 10 minutes left on the show, so let's start wrapping up our talk on BVS in case there's anything else that we want to talk about this week. I love it. You guys, Marty, you seem to like it. You used to like it a lot.
I really loved it when I first saw it, but I guess it's just stained by what they've done with it. It's hard to look back and think, oh, this was great. Now, it might be starting over again in another movie or two.
Talia, your overall synopsis is
It was watchable. It was entertaining, but I mean, I wouldn't put it over the Christopher Reeve 1978 Superman.
Okay,
that might be a good ranking show one day. Bring that back. Rank some superhero movies.
Bring some ranking shows back. Okay. Marty, you got some weekly stuff. Let's round it up. Last 10 minutes.
Well, in this week in Who Took Their Dick Out and Why, we have the all the stuff that stemmed from the Louis
this week,
all the Louis C.K. stuff. I thought we'd play a little fun game, not fun game, but a game nonetheless.
Trying to figure out who's who. You're gonna name a scandal and I have to guess.
I'm gonna throw out a guy or whatever happened, and we'll decide if their career is over or not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll start easy. Start Weinstein.
Oh yeah, he's going to jail. This guy's going to jail.
He's
done.
Going to jail?
Yeah, they got rape charges going in New York City. Like, he's being banned from the academy. He's done. Weinstein's done. Done.
Ali agreed?
Yeah.
All right. Kevin Spacey off of House of Cards over. they're filming his scenes again in the in his new movie. They've cut him out for Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that says a lot about what Christopher Plummer looks like as opposed to an older Kevin Spacey. But so he's cut from that. No projects anymore. So are we saying he's done, or can he make a little comeback here?
I think he'll make a comeback. I think he's got 5 or 6 years that he's gonna have to lie low. But see, that's the risk though. Is he is a little bit older. So can he sit for 5 or 6 years? And I think he comes back.
He's not like a comedian or something where he can go and work somewhere quietly.
Sure.
You know?
No, I think he makes a little bit of comeback. I think
How? That's what I want to know.
I think it's a few years down the road. I think he's gonna have to lay low, and I think he's gonna make his penance on the side and build himself up maybe in the LGBT community, right? On the DL. Like he's gonna start getting some street cred there, now that
he
he's
has
out.
some possible pending charges as well, though. So
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, up in Boston, I think in Massachusetts, they said.
Really?
He should write a book about this whole thing.
Yep. Uphill battle. I think he does it in 5 years or so. Who else?
All right. Next, Brett Ratner, accused of all types of creepy behavior.
This pisses me off because Brett Ratner. Everyone's known about this for like a decade. He literally had parties where he was bringing in little boys. Still little boys, like teenagers, like, ugh.
Brett Ratner or Bryan Singer?
No, Brett Ratner.
Oh, this Bryan Singer I'm thinking about.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about Brett Ratner.
Brett Ratner had his own other douchey shit.
Oh.
He was Ellen Page wrote a whole thing this week saying that on the set of X-Men 3, I guess you're calling it.
How bad is I'm lumping
just
Brett Ratner and Bryan Singer together? How terrible is that? They're like, Brett Ratner has no personality as a director too. Like he just copies every fucking thing that he sees. That's so ridiculous. He's a poor man's Bryan Singer. How shitty is that? Is that if you're a poor man's Bryan Singer, how terrible. Hi Ariana. I saw Ariana back there. I guess someone's coming to your door right now. Hey, how you doing?
So also Gal Gadot came out this week that she would not sign on for Wonder Woman 2 if his production company was still involved, and he is now gone off that.
Okay. I think the world's a better place without Brett Ratner in it, so I hope his career's done.
George Takei.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Like, this. I think he's gonna fight this one. And I'm seeing some updates on this, and it does seem like he knew this guy, maybe intimately. I think he'll be fine. I think it's not like he's got a huge career. He's more of got a political stance right now, right? He doesn't have a career,
but that hurts that. But he does some commercial work, and he does other things.
I think he'll be fine. I think JTK's fine.
Actually, Amanda brought this up last week. The editor at DC Comics, Eddie Berganza.
He's done. He's donezo. Get him out of there. Yeah.
Donezo.
Gone.
Even that, someone like that. It'd be hard to even notice if he did come back in some small.
Sure. Yeah, but hey, think of what they tried to do with Faraci. Think about how, that shit comes out, man, and the fan bases are rabid, and the comic book fans, they'll know.
Yeah, that's true. And then, so I guess we'll get to the big one. Louis C.K. came out I guess it was that's the funny thing about how fast the story broke. I want to say Thursday at 3:00, and by Friday he was off of everything. Like even HBO on demand took it.
Yeah.
So again, he's not. I don't want to minimize any of the accusations, but he's nothing as bad, I don't think, as Weinstein or Kevin Spacey, but still general creepy shithead behavior.
Especially as a father that has 2 daughters. Like
he's got 2 daughters.
To me, like,
and it's such a personal thing with him because all his, comedy, of course, is personal. His show was essentially the takeoff of him. Mm-hmm. He had a movie coming out that got shut down completely, which was a weird. I tweeted out the trailer. It's freaking creepy when you look back at it. Called it's something Daddy, and it's just really odd looking back at that now. And some of his other, they brought up there's so much of his material that was masturbation based. So So yeah, FX cut all ties.
Yeah.
HBO cut all ties. Netflix cut all ties. But I would say he's got the easy.
I think he's
not
got
the
the
easiest
easiest.
chance,
I think
but-
I think he's got the easiest path, right? He's a comedian. Shit, Michael Richards still does stand up. I mean,
Does he?
he's got he's not.
he's
He
not,
needs
I
sign-
know he's yeah. I'm just saying, he's still doing
Oh.
stand up. You know, I think Louis C.K. You know, he'll find a way.
I think he'll find a way,
Not
but
to
he'll
the
never
level.
get back.
Never to the
yeah,
level.
he's never get back to selling out Madison Square Garden 3 nights in a row, or his own FX deal, which FX let him just do whatever he wanted, basically.
Jeffrey Tambor. I think that's one of the charges that I have one of the harder.
He denies it.
He denies it. It's one person so far, right? And if we want to do the whole innocent until proven guilty, he's got one charge so far for someone that was apparently disgruntled when working for him and was dismissed for bad attitude.
Yeah.
So unless there's more people that start coming out for Tambor, I was saying this before the show to Talia, is once there's multiple people, like the first person that came out against Bill Cosby,
Yeah.
and you're like, cash grab. And then it's just like, it was a litany of people like saying, and then celebrities started saying the same stuff. It's like, oh, that's not good. It's not Bill. Bill, sorry. I think if more people come out about Tambor, then we start to lump him into the rest of the crowd. I think
Don't forget Tom.
Sizemore was today, right? You're saying, right, Talia? Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that Sizemore was not someone who was really, he'd been kind of thrown away for a couple of years anyway. He had this weird, he had alcohol problems, drug problems. He had a sex tape for a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he wasn't going to be starring alongside Tom Hanks anytime soon anyway. So.
James Woods?
Oh yeah.
Again, he was also kind of kicked aside too for more of his dickhead thoughts on Twitter. So it's hard to. It's like I said, it seems to be easier for the conservatives, as we see in Alabama, to get away with this shit. But
So who's next here, right?
My man Piven. Don't forget Piven. My man
right?
Piven.
Yeah.
Piven, again, that wasn't getting denied, and it was still just a one person so far, I think. More than who's next, I wanted to throw it out. Who would happen next that would just kind of crush you?
Well, Tom Hanks would be a bad one.
Tom Hanks would hurt America.
So if we saw Tom Hanks, if like anything with Tom Hanks would be really brutal.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal would really hurt me. Idris Elba would really hurt me. Daniel Craig.
Idris Elba would be a rough one too.
I was talking with our friend Nick. He said Michael Keaton. If that happened, he'd just
God.
give it up.
That
That's
would kill me
Yeah.
too.
Right. Right.
Gary
jump-
Oldman.
Jump in the
Daniel
comment section, guys. Give us your list of
Your
people
comments.
you don't want to see.
Comment below. All right, Matt. You got anything else? Was
Just happy news. Last Jedi is 30 days away. Mark your calendar. And they announced last week that Last Jedi director Rian Johnson will be given his own trilogy to work with,
well, hey now.
starting after the Abrams movie. After Episode 9, he gets his own trilogy to do whatever he wants. No, it's not going to be a continuation of the story. It's going to be his own, take on anything, and
Okay.
it's exciting news. I thought.
Okay.
It was interesting. I thought, say Last Jedi is great, and then everyone loves his next trilogy. Say, 20 years from now, is he more synonymous with Star Wars now than, say, George Lucas?
No.
When people start thinking, 20 years from now,
No.
not our generation, 10-year-old now, doing
George
their
Lucas
pod.
owns
No,
Star Wars.
I tell you, man. I think the DNA. I think the Lucas DNA. I think people are gonna know. He's not gonna give that up. The family's not gonna give that up. I know that he's sold the company.
I'm not saying that it's never going to be Lucas. It'll always be Lucas. I'm not saying they're going to make it Rian Johnson films, but who will be the more, that guy's better at Star Wars than George Lucas? Will he get that title if he can hit? Because there's
I
still
don't know.
people, Lucas, still did a lot of damage with that, prequel era.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I love
Have you
him.
guys talked about this up here about the prequels or anything?
We're going to, right? We're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that
I
for the
want
Last
to be a part
Jedi.
of it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll bring you back for that one. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
one? Which one did you want to talk about, Marty? The
I figured talk Attack of the Clones,
Attack of the
considering it
Clones?
was
Okay.
second for,
It's
we'll
right
do
in
all
the
the
middle.
second ones.
right in the middle there. And
We
there
can do
actually
that
is
thing.
no Attack
Yeah.
of the Clones. We'll get into
clone.
that.
No,
Yeah.
there are no clones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clones did not really attack yet in that movie. There's a whole cartoon series called Clone Wars that was great, but but we
That
don't
was
want to see
good.
that.
I'm not going to sit through that. Yeah. So 30 days Star Wars. All right.
30 Days Star Wars, and interesting Rotten Tomatoes movie, taking us back to BVS and everything, because I think that's when they started getting their, I guess, most hate or most fame, when they, BVS had the horrible Rotten Tomato score. They are not releasing a score for Justice League until Wednesday night.
Okay.
It's part of, I don't know if it's part of a, they're saying it's part of a new reveal thing they're doing, trying to get viewership to their Facebook show. But I don't know if they got so much flack over the BVS score that they don't want to, taint the audience.
No, I doubt that. I think it's a ratings grab or a attention grab or something like that.
So they reviewed that. I mean, the reviews for Thor came out like 2 or 3 weeks before Thor. The reviews only started coming out for Justice League, I want to say, late last week, and they weren't as bad as Suicide Squad reviews were, but they're not great.
I know a guy that's seen it, and whose opinion that I trust. So I'm hoping that he's right. He says that it's really good, and that similar kind of some messy issues like with BVS, but says it's fun. He really liked it a lot. So, and again, I usually trust his opinion, and I'm hoping he's right.
I think the standard is so much lower now for this one.
I'm
as
sure.
Opposed to BVS, because I think people are just are going in thinking, all right, this isn't going to be great, but if it's just fun, and at least establishes something going forward, I think it'll get a good grade.
I might backtrack on something I said last week. I said that there's no way that Justice League is going to outdo Thor at the box office. I think opening weekend is gonna beat Thor. Not long run. I think opening weekend is probably going to track to about 130, 135. Thor was 121.
120, and it's made.
Yeah.
It's made another 80 or so this week.
Yeah, but it's worldwide. It's I think it's made
it's at 6 something already.
680 or 660 or something like that. Yeah. So, my prediction, I think Justice League pulls in about 132, 133. I think it pulls in a little bit more than Thor did. I don't know, just a guess.
I would say less. I think it's if they crack 100, I think they'll be happy.
It also has it going into Thanksgiving weekend next week.
Thanksgiving weekend. Thor, I mean, this weekend had a couple of releases.
Yeah, well, I had the Bad Moms 2, and the Daddy's Home 2. Yeah.
And then Murder on the Orient Express came out this week as well.
Did that bomb?
No, it did all right. It made
Really?
It made 10 million.
It was okay, but look, it was. I saw that because
Yeah.
I love Poirot, and I would watch the show with David Suchet, and I knew that it was going to be this sort of like vanity thing with Kenneth Branagh, and it was. I mean, it was good, but it was just like, okay, he's in every scene practically.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the book, he's not. And not only that, you don't really get to see him solve the case. He just tells you, this is how I solved it. I'm like, well, that takes the fun out of everything. A mystery, you want to see how they solved it, the clues and everything. So it's like,
Yeah, the trailers for that look good, but you can kind of tell it wasn't going to translate to a good movie.
Plus that Olaf in it, right?
I had a lot of good I mean, I had a pretty good cast from what I get to see.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Helen Mirren's in there.
Look better than that Liam Neeson train movie that's coming out soon.
Oh man, The Commuter.
The Commuter. It's kind of
taken
like
on a train.
Taken on a train
versus
Pelham 123.
No. What the hell? Damn. Under Siege 2.
Oh,
it's like Under Siege 2 meets Taken.
He was he was in
I thought he did more action films.
We could have thrown him into the is his career over or not? What's his career?
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal. He took it out a few times.
Yeah.
He was doing the standard casting couch shit apparently.
What? Oh yeah, that's right. I read about that. Yeah. Yeah.
But he was already living in Russia, having a good time out there. So I don't think he's worried about his Hollywood career anymore.
No. Is that it? Is that you got?
Yeah, I guess so.
right.
I'm looking forward to this Thursday. I don't know.
Let's figure. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how Justice League goes. I'm probably gonna try
Yeah,
to go
sit there,
Thursday
get a big thing of popcorn, and just.
You get the AMC rewards,
Yeah.
so you get the upgrade to the large popcorn.
Get the
right?
upgrade to the big popcorn and the stupid soda.
Before we end, are you guys going to do like a review of Stranger Things?
Oh, we probably should. We should probably
Have you
talk about
finished
that.
it?
I did finish it.
Okay, what do you think there?
Maybe we'll talk about it. You want to talk about it now?
Can it?
No, not now. I mean, like do an episode of Stranger Things.
We can do that. We can do the episode of Stranger Things.
Yeah, I want to do a whole kind of Netflix episode after Justice League. There's a few things coming out
Okay.
we can watch.
Well, if we do Stranger Things, we'll let you know, Talia, because I finished it, so I'm all
I also finished Mindhunters, which is really good. I
yeah.
recommend that one.
Definitely not Netflix per se, but streaming or whatever. I'm almost done with The Tick. There's 6 episodes. It's on Amazon. Really like it. Really fun. Yeah. Okay. Talia, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having
Come
me.
back on anytime. Seriously.
Where can the people find you out there?
Where?
She's out in LA.
No, I mean,
I'm in LA.
Twitter, anything.
Twitter, Instagram, Twitter, I'm TALYA 2312. Instagram, I'm TALYA 1980, and that's it. And here I'm on YouTube.
Yep. And then you can see her on this show because she's now a guest on our show.
There you go.
And soon to be in very big movies, and then she'll never do our show again. When she's a star, she's like, who are these guys?
You have to pay me.
Yeah, exactly. But at least we'll be on your IMDb page, and then we can just say, hey, when Talia when she was rising up, she did our show.
Yeah.
And then we can close out another episode of Movies and Stuff show. Thanks to everyone for sticking through. We had some issues in the beginning. I still can't explain how I fixed it, and I don't even know what went wrong. So for the next time, I know what to try. But thanks for sticking through. Really appreciate it. Please make sure to like this episode, subscribe to us. Marty will have some videos. I'm guessing DC related, maybe. Possibly.
Yeah, we'll put all those up.
Superhero related or something like that. And follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Movie Stuff Show. We're also on Instagram at Movie Stuff Show, but I'm so terrible with posting on Instagram because it's an app. You need to have you can't do it on a computer. It's an app. It's all you can do. And then
You're
you
supposed
take
to be out
pictures.
there living, Dan, and taking pictures.
Yeah, right. Hey, listen, if you want to follow us on Instagram, I can post a ton of pictures of my daughters. If you want to see that, then there you go.
I think that would work.
So we can do that. All right, we'll be back next week, next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about Justice League. We'll have a few people on, I think. I think we're going to try to have we'll try to have maybe
a real round table.
4 people. Like two more people, I think. Me and Marty and 2 other people, maybe. Maybe 5. Definitely 4.
Getting crazy.
Definitely 3, but 4.
Definitely 2.
More than 2. All right. Hey, goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
See ya.